Motorsport show is the best live show on Facebook. Extremely entertaining and factual. Everyone should watch it.
All right, you're very welcome along to this week's Saturday panel. This week, it's all about motorsport because this week's Saturday panel is brought to you in association with the Motorsport show, which is taking place at the RDS on the 23rd and 24th of November. You can get your tickets for that now from themotorshow.com.
What is that, Philip? Welcome, everyone, to the Motorsport Show. I'm Gerald McDornan. It's bloody freezing. I'm in my garage. And this is episode number 3 for 2020. And we've also got on the line via Skype is my co-host of the Motorsport Show, Phil Brannigan. Welcome, Philip.
Yeah, sorry, we're a bit late because how's my hair? I'm a bit worried about lockdown hair. Is it all right? That was all right?
Yeah, looks fine. Very good.
Do I look like a hobo?
Well, no, not too bad. I did actually.
No more than usual.
Well, I popped in and had a shave after I did a little promo for online about 6 o'clock. So I did jump in the shower and have a quick shave. So, but I did have the coronavirus hair as well because
you don't have any hair.
No, well, geez, getting grey, mate, getting grey. Almost catching up to yourself.
I have no grey hair. My wife tells me lies about silver threads on the side of my head. She's a fibber.
Wow.
Terrible.
Now, it's good to see that you've changed positions there, Philip.
I have. I have. I'm now in being a Catholic. I like to change positions from time to time. Yeah.
And you clearly you've moved to a different part of the lounge room.
Yes, I'm in the East Wing at the moment. This is sometimes referred to as our summer residence, but we're actually stretching it out a little bit this year. And, I just thought I'd sit in front of the bookcase. There's a lot of motor racing stuff in there, a few bits and pieces. I think we've got a picture of the boys in there somewhere. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm actually in the garage.
Is everything all right at home, Gerald? Why have you been sent to the garage?
Well, I actually couldn't get in here for the last 2 or 3 years. It was full of shit until the last couple of weeks. And, with a bit of coronavirus, of course, you want to move things around and get rid of shit and sell some stuff. And we've been doing a bit of all of that.
I know how this works. It's always a power struggle with Sons. Will's been taking over. He's been asserting himself. Don't you watch The Lion King? This is how it works.
No, not at this
point.
No. But,
all right.
But the coronavirus.
Are you drinking?
So yes, I am. I've only just started because we've been busy trying to get the show ready.
Right. What are you drinking?
Usual. And the coronavirus. Phil, Toyota in supercars. Let's have a look at the Toyota's effort. The first one, if we can, please, Michelle and William out there. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. The Toyota Corona virus. It's a virus model they're going to run.
Yep.
That's actually the old model, the Princess Cruises Ruby Princess, driven by Captain Stubing. Number 19 on there, commemorating the amount of deaths, courtesy of the Ruby Princess so far. They'll probably change numbers as they go along into the event.
It's not the virus model, you idiot. It's VRS.
Oh, VRS. Sorry, that's the sporting brand. But
honestly,
that was Phil. That was their previous attempt at supercars. Yeah. The coronavirus or the Corona VRS has been superseded. Of course, let's have a look at the latest model, which is coming to infect you and I as soon as it can, if we can. There it is, courtesy of Auto Action. The Cedar meets Australia 75 Camry virus, driven by Lamb. And
who? Charlie Lamb? No, I got bad news. Charlie Lamb's not with us anymore. Is it a hybrid?
Yeah. So that's the next model along.
Did Auto Action run a story about Camry supercar? Did they?
They must have. I found the picture online, but it's good to see
the
Meats getting involved.
Yeah, sure.
So That's Victoria's own Ruby Princess. So New South Wales and Victoria leading again in the way there.
Yep.
Phil, it's been a month since we've been on air this weekend.
It seems like longer than that. It seems like 5 weeks.
It does seem like 5 weeks. It's 4 weeks, isn't it? I don't know.
There you go. Time flies.
But a lot's happened in that time, and we're going to discuss it on the show. And I will try and see if I can see everyone's questions and the like. Now, the first thing I should say, I actually got fucking banned by those cockheads at Facebook for the last show. Can you believe it? Well,
yes.
Because you don't have a Facebook account, they banned me.
No, I'm on MySpace in black and white.
I'm banned. I actually can't post to Facebook. Can you believe that? I think it was.
Yeah, I can.
I think it was when we used. There was 3 things we used in the last show. There was the wacko religious bloke who was blowing the COVID away. That hasn't worked clearly.
How did that go, by the way?
Yeah, that's. May God strike me dead.
When's that kicking in?
Yeah, and then of course we had the gopher doing the burp at the end. That's just what he thought of the show. And we had the ambulance, the toy. The toy ambulance is a joke about that. And anyway, they won't tell me. They didn't tell me what bit of the show, and they've deleted the last show.
Okay.
And we've had about 50 emails backwards and forwards, and they keep saying, well, you have to tell us what part of the show and what the show, why we deleted you and why we should reinstate you. And the reply is, well, they fucking deleted the show. How can you tell them? I haven't got the show. They got it.
I don't know. But in the meantime, I think we've got to accentuate the positives here, Gerald. We've been on the air for how long now?
7 minutes.
No, it's been almost a year since we started. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But there are things to talk about.
No, Philip.
What?
In that month off, it was our first birthday a couple of weeks ago.
What?
Yes.
Really?
Our first
12 months?
Our first birthday, and
what happened? I didn't get any presents.
It's a cake. COVID, be gone.
Okay.
How good was that? Hi, Alan Bloomfield. Hey, Alan Bloomfield's tuned in. I don't know who's watching the show because I can't actually see who's joining in.
Right.
But I will try.
We'll try and keep abreast of things at this end.
Yeah. Yep, and we sure like keeping abreast of everything.
Never mind.
And I'll just trying to see so we can actually see some questions. Can you see all the questions and hellos there, Philip?
No, not very clearly. I've got 2 computers here and one's reflecting like a bastard. But anyway, we'll get to that. Tom Worsley's there. Hi, Tom. How you going?
Hey, Tom.
We can do with the sponsor.
That'd be good.
Sounding heaps better. That's good. Send us some questions. Is David Addison watching? David Addison made a comment before on our Twitter feed. So, Addison, if you're online in the UK, make a comment or even better, ring in.
Anarchy in the UK. Mark Boyer saying one of our 2 fat tradies. Sound is better tonight. Thanks.
2 fat tradies.
That was me. Tom Worsley. Hey Tom Worsley. Glenn Smith. Let's all warm up and have a great show. Good idea.
Okay.
I've got the jacket on as well. Gregory Munzer. When the COVID-19 is over, we can get in some real contact. Yes, but not
contact. No, I like it the way it is at the moment.
Bill England, Motorsport. I don't want to see Phil's face. Now, Bill,
fair enough.
I couldn't reply to you because I'm banned on Facebook from replying.
Okay.
Scott Wensley says, I'm bored. That's like, Scott, your photos are out of focus. We all know that.
No, they're not. He's a man who almost gave up a leg to supercars.
Peter Harker says, I remember you licking my birthday cake in Darwin.
That's not what I heard.
I didn't realise that's what you call it. We opened, Phil, with the panel show from Dublin talking about the motorsport show, and they had a
Yeah,
panelist of 3 Irish people involved in motorsport. But this little clip here, we've got to play it. And if you get the shits when people go like,
Yeah.
and that like, have a listen to this.
Just as a way of introduction, you might just tell me a little bit about yourselves, your kind of background in the sport, and how you got to where you are now. We'll start with you, Elaine.
I suppose I was always interested in motorsport when I was young, and the rally used to pass, I suppose, the house behind in West Kerry, in West Dingle, there in the Gaeltacht. And I suppose my interest in motorsport, I got to know people, and I suppose I wouldn't mind giving this a crack, I suppose. And I got a seat there, I suppose, in 2010, and I've been at it since.
I suppose, Phil.
I suppose, Elaine.
I suppose.
Come on, Elaine, or come on, Irene. Did not hear a word of that, by the way. We have a technical hitch here, so I'm going to assume, as usual, that you picked us a really funny clip.
I suppose. 6 times she said, I suppose. Now,
oh, okay. Maybe she was doing it to be sure.
I suppose she was. Now, the big news, the biggest news, other than our birthday, Phil, was that while the COVID-19's going on, motor racing series around the world are parked, obviously, and the E-Series have taken over. And
they have I-Series or E-Series, whichever you prefer. Pick your favourite vowel.
Yes, and we finally got involved.
What?
Yep.
Did we?
Yep.
When?
Wednesday
How?
night. That's why we thought about doing a show, but we couldn't because I had to virtually fly to Spa-Francorchamps.
Oh, yeah.
And virtually watch my car, enjoy myself in virtual hospitality.
Were you in virtual business class?
That's it. Apparently, they have virtual people behind those virtual curtains when you turn left on the plane, not right.
I love those words.
And
please turn left.
Have a look at this. Thanks to James Courtney and Boost Mobile.
Yep.
Look at this one. Bring it up, William. There we go. The Motorsport Show. On the back bumper, down the bottom right. There we are. The Motorsport Show logo. So,
what a proud moment.
Well, the sad part was that James Courtney came stone motherless last in every race. Didn't represent the sponsors too well.
No, he didn't.
I believe he's on the Gold Coast drowning his sorrows tonight. And but the virtual livery by ex-Holden designer Peter Hughes, being virtual chrome, very slippery but very heavy, and slowed him down the whole weekend, or the whole night. So that's why.
No one told Pete that there's a big hill at Spa.
Yeah, and good to see the Opals back in Europe.
Peugeot, the Peugeot.
Yeah, yeah.
It was on home turf.
Yes.
Anyway, well, we know the car's absolutely fantastic. Courtney, you're a dud. You are a dud. Done nothing, won nothing.
Yes. Now, Philip. Now the big news. Yeah. World of Outlaws. I think we're hot lapping today. I think they're racing. NASCAR. They're coming back. What, next weekend?
They are. They're going to run on the. When are they going to run?
Next
I've got it written down here somewhere. Yeah. On the 17th at Darlington.
IndyCar. They're coming back.
Yep. They are. 4 weeks. IndyCar in Texas, at Texas Motor Speedway.
Formula One.
Formula One.
What's going on there?
Look, they're talking about it. They're talking about perhaps having a race as early as the 5th of July at Spielberg, the Steven Spielberg Ring over there in Austria. There's even been discussion about whether they might run 2 races, including one under lights. Does that mean they're going to do it? No, because at the same time, there's also been, for the first time, an admission from Chase Carey, the boss of Formula One, that there is the possibility of having no racing this year. But at the moment, they're trying to plan for something in Austria, 2 races maybe, and then possibly 2 in Britain, and then maybe 2 in Barcelona. The whole thing is now confused by the fact that the British government has just brought in this rule about anybody who flies in to the UK from Europe will have to go into quarantine for 14 days.
That's a good idea. Why didn't anyone think of that before?
It's not a bad idea. At the moment, though, there's an exemption for lorry drivers. Now,
what if your name's not Laurie?
Well, what if your name is Lewis? So will they extend that exemption to Formula One drivers and teams? Who knows? It's a bit of as we all know, everything's a bit liquid at the moment, so we're going to have to wait and see.
A bit liquid and a bit infectious still, but it's hard to believe, especially after Brexit, that the Poms actually voted to leave Europe, that they didn't bring in the 14, and considering the amount of infections and unfortunate death toll that they've had there, it's surprising they didn't bring the 14-day hibernation or isolation in before this.
Well, there's been a fair few surprises on all sorts of things that have happened around the world. The British government's response to a lot of things hasn't maybe been as prompt or as decisive as it might have been. And I'm sure in the fullness of time there'll be a whole bunch of books written about this, because God knows there's a lot of journos sitting on their backside at the moment not doing anything, maybe except for blogs. Do we need any more blogs or podcasts? I don't know about that.
No more podcasts. Actually, I did do an interview yesterday, a podcast interview yesterday with young Lachlan Mansell, who used to work with me. Hi, Lockie, if you're out there watching, I'm sure you are. Plenty of chat on that one. I can, very good.
Yep, good to see Rob Fasino online. Great work, team. Thank you, Rob. Gregory Munter. Okay, now Dunny Doors around next year. What are they going to do? Put in manufacture? What's going to come in? That's a really good question. A lot of the Holden teams, I think, will still be running their Commodores. What will Walkinshaws be doing? We don't know.
And Camaro, will they go Camaro? Well, if you didn't hear the news last week or the week before, Camaro is now dead in Australia. Walkinshaws has finished importing the car into the country and not going to convert them anymore. They're going to concentrate on the Silverados. That business, of course, is stepping across. They haven't announced it yet, but it's going to merge into GM Special Vehicles. Peter Keeley, the former head of sales for Holden, probably still is, I suppose, he is overseeing what's going to happen there. So Camaro's dead. Bit of a whisper that, GM, before the Corona deal happened, that GM weren't sort of being, how would you say it, overly keen about it. So we're not sure. There's a lot of shit going on, obviously. The Australian dealers, the Holden dealers, have not taken kindly to GM's offers about the closure of Holden in Australia. And have gone legal. Holden came out the other day and refuted all of their claims. And I believe that that's only fired up the Holden dealers even more. And I think that's going to get very nasty. It'll probably end up as a Senate inquiry to start with. So watch out there. That's all going to play out. And, then if that's all going on, what does it mean for GM Special Vehicles anyway? So... a lot going on now. Colin Simon says, any news on Gen 3? The only news we can say on Gen 3 is not a lot's going on. There probably is behind the scenes, but
there is behind the scenes. In fact, I'm told that Carl Foe, Walkinshaws, is leading the specifications, the redraw of the specs for Gen 3. So.
Okay,
these are guys with a lot of experience from the BTCC, and that series is noted for its cost savings.
Yeah, that is the major drama of the current car, the car of the future car, which was supposed to be $250,000 and is $600,000. I've said it before. Cost cutting in motorsport is an oxymoron. It never happens. Anyone ever mentions cost cutting, but Alan Gow, Aussie Alan Gow, who I converse with most days, or certainly many days every week, when he took back over the British Touring Car Championship and came in with that new formula, and it's not TCR, Phil. You know what it is. I can't think of what the specs
something else. It's production body shells, but there's a spec engine available, and that's the smart part of the BTCC.
Yeah.
If you want to run a relatively inexpensive engine, you can, and here it is. if you're a manufacturer or you've got a manufacturer link like Subaru or BMW or somebody else, you can build your own engine so that you have your own branding on that motor, but it has to conform to the specifications and the performance parameters of the spec engine. You can't buy an advantage, and that's a great concept, and I think that's something that could be expanded upon and possibly taken on board in Supercar.
Now, you went to a BDCC round last year, didn't you?
Yeah. Yep. I went on. No, it's 2018. Had a good look around. Had a poke through some of the teams. Had a long chat with some of the team bosses, and it has been a great success. I'm not a massive fan of the one format fits all 25-minute races, but there are good reasons why that happens over there. We have a completely different concept over here. There are no endurance races, but I'm a big fan of the BTCC. Would it work here? Probably not. There would need to be some sort of slightly different setup, and I'm sure the teams will be bringing me up tomorrow. Some of the people from some of the teams saying, no, we can't have those 25-minute races here, and that's why. I agree, exactly right. They don't have two driver races. They don't have marquee events like Bathurst and Sandown.
Thomas Jarrett says NGTC is what the British Touring Car Championship
It
runs.
New generation. Yep, correct.
That's
well done,
right.
Thomas.
Thanks for that.
You get an elephant stand for that.
I knew it was something. Tom Worsley says, did you have a birthday party? No.
We had an e-birthday party.
Yeah, virtual.
Yeah, a virtual birthday party. Yeah. Hey, just before we get on to some of the other things that we're going to be talking about, we briefly touched on Formula One, and I don't think we're going back to that any time in the next little while. There is something I'd like to suggest about Formula One, and something you and I talked about previously, and it's this: if we are going to have double headers, and let's not get too far ahead of themselves because it's possible there may be no F1 for the rest of the year, but if there are going to be double headers, and if there is going to be a double header at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, there has been talk about what the second race might be called. And I'd like to make a suggestion. I'd like to just throw this out there. I haven't discussed it with anybody except for a few people, haven't bounced it off anybody in positions of power. But what if the second race at Silverstone was called the British Grand Prix? Was called the Australian Grand Prix. Is there a reason why we couldn't do that?
Ooh, that's a big call.
It is a big call.
Do you think that could happen?
But, well, there used to be non-championship F1 races in the UK, the Race of Champions, usually at the circuit, either Brands Hatch or Silverstone, that didn't host the Grand Prix that year, the Alton Park Gold Cup. There's been a long tradition of the Australian Grand Prix going back way before 1985, long before Formula One came to Adelaide, all the way back to, it depends what version you want. You want to believe 1927 in Goulburn, that was a speedway race, or 1928 at Phillip Island. And there's also a long tradition of interaction between British drivers and the Australian Grand Prix going back to 38. At Bathurst, when Peter Whitehead won, Sterling Moss has won the Australian Grand Prix, Graham and Damon Hill both, Jackie Stewart, Jim Clark, Nigel Mansell, David Coulthard, Eddie Irvine. Yeah, okay, there's always one. Lewis Hamilton has won it twice, Jenson Button 3 times. There's a great affinity which doesn't need to be explained between England and Australia. We sledge them during the cricket. They sledge us during everything else. Okay. We already have a trophy. Australia has continuity.
We've got the Ashes.
It goes all the way. Well, we've got the Ashes, yeah. And if it wasn't for that bloody Stokes, we would have won the whole series in the UK. But I've got to point out that Tim Payne did get a review wrong, and he's terrible at that. He's good at everything else, so we'll forgive him. There's been an Australian Grand Prix held continuously since 1947 after World War II. I would hate to see that streak end. So, please, next time you talk to Gow, maybe mention it to him. I haven't discussed this with anybody at the Grand Prix Corporation, either the chairman or the CEO or anybody else in a position of power. But maybe if there is going to be 2 races at Silverstone, one of them could be the Australian Grand Prix. Maybe there's a bunch of reasons why it couldn't happen, and if there are, please let us know.
Well, and as a kind viewer has pointed out, Peter Altman, the San Marino Grand Prix was run in Imola. Yeah, well,
San Marino doesn't really have any racetracks. It wasn't halfway around the world. It's actually in Italy, so yeah.
Well,
there's whatever
the European Grand Prix
happen.
Wasn't the European Grand Prix run in Britain, and it's not a part of Britain anymore?
Well, no, it is. Technically, it still is until maybe October. And of course, the race in Azerbaijan used to be the European Grand Prix, even though technically Azerbaijan is in Asia, and now it's the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So look, maybe it's a dumb idea, and maybe
so they move continents.
Maybe Paul Little and Andrew Westacott have got good reasons why this couldn't happen, but they also have a lot of influence. So look, we already have the trophy. Dan can take it over on the plane.
They need to come up with a good reason and make something happen, because they didn't come up with a good enough, fast enough reason to stop the rubbish going on at Albert Park in March.
Yeah, it's true, and it's about time the Poms did something for us, because let's face it, they weren't a lot of help at Gallipoli, were they?
No, and talking of Gallipoli,
speaking of which, as ever seemed like.
Talking of Gallipoli,
who said I'm not professional?
Now, last year I got into a lot of trouble, Philip, for saying
really? Why?
For saying things about supercars. And I have to, I have to say that this time it's not good enough. What supercars have done? Anzac Day just a couple of weeks ago. Anzac Day, and I was very proudly involved with when the Holden Racing team ran the Anzac tributes. The country has built it up. This year, due to the COVID and isolation, someone came up with a great idea that we couldn't go to the dawn service to walk down the end of your driveway and stand there and pay tribute to all those that have served our country, and especially those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. Supercars this year, no tribute on their page, on their website or social media. Absolutely disgraceful. At 6 o'clock in the morning, when Australians around the country were standing at the end of their driveway paying tribute to the Anzacs, they put online a Saturday sleuth story talking about where a fucking old race car was. And if there's a moment in time where that shouldn't be done, and I'm not having a dip at Aaron here, because that's a whole separate thing, Anzac Day at 6 a.m. in the morning is not a Saturday sleuthing story. And what I found quite amazing is that Cole Hitchcock was the former media manager for Supercars, and they sort of moved him on, and he's now with Cricket Australia and doing a terrific job there. But their new communications manager came from the Army and started, the week after Bathurst, the week before Bathurst. Now, I'm not quite sure if she went on maternity leave before Anzac Day or slightly after it, but it was around that time. So she hasn't been there that long and now gone on maternity leave. But for Supercars not to put an Anzac tribute on their page and then to only share later in the morning the Erebus Anzac social media posts is just not good enough. And for a national championship, one that visits New Zealand as well, our brothers of the Anzacs, it's just appalling.
Yeah, I would say that these are unusual circumstances, and by not having events, it's possibly thrown everybody into a loop. And I don't know who was on the ground at Supercars at the time and who wasn't. But
there's plenty of time. There's been plenty of time to have a look at the days ahead, Phil.
Yes, and under normal circumstances, I'm sure they would have done that. But look, I'm not prepared to throw them under a bus for that.
I'm not throwing them under a bus, but I'm kicking them up the arse.
Yep. Okay.
You know, like if there's one day of the year, it's got to be that one.
Yep. Look, and I take that on board. And we've seen a whole bunch of tributes on social media over the last few days because of the 75th anniversary of the VE Day.
And we didn't even
involved in motor racing.
And no VE Commodores anywhere.
No VEs. No. VRs and VSs all over the place. No VEs. It's pretty ordinary.
Richard said, "What, you get into trouble?"
Yeah, all the time.
Lindsay, sorry, Phil. GP for Oz has to be in Oz.
Under normal circumstances, Lindsay, I would absolutely agree with you. And there's a really, really good book that makes that point. And I should know because it's got my blood and sweat in it. But, these are extraordinary times. And I would rather see 2020 Silverstone Australian Grand Prix than 2020 nothing. Personal view, and I'm happy to throw it out there and have people with different views. Thanks for engaging with us.
I don't disagree with you, actually, Phil. I think it's.
Sorry, who is this?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree at all. So I think
I must have a cross line. No, that's very good. And look, like I said, maybe it's a dumb idea.
Righto. What did Bill England says here, Gerald? Thanks, Bill. Now talking about, well, I got my goat up. I got my back up a little. I got my goat up. No, I didn't.
Oh no! Now what?
Well, out of Anzac, of course, the Erebus guys had planned an Anzac Day tribute.
Yep.
It was, which I think is wonderful, but it's the livery of their car set a trend, and I just want to go through a couple of little images. First, bring up the first one, please, guys, and we'll wait for Phil's 5 seconds. There's the Erebus Kiss
Is it
car.
5 seconds?
There's the Erebus Kiss car. There's the Holden Racing Team Kiss promotion, which we did in 2013. And on the right, of course, Erebus 2019. Let's go to the next one. Anzac Day 2014, Holden Racing Team on the left, crossing Bass Strait with the truck. Erebus 2019, crossing Bass Strait with the car. And the next one, Holden Racing Team 2014, in front of the shrine. Erebus 2020, in front of the shrine. Now, Philip.
Yeah.
They say there's no such thing as a new idea.
Oh, you've never had any, but yeah, go on.
Well,
neither have I. I've built a publishing career out of it.
Well, look, you don't mind. We've all copied something at some point in time, but gee, a phone call would be nice. But I just couldn't help myself. Let's roll the next picture up. I just couldn't help myself. I thought the car needed a bit better sign writing and copyright racing. I'm not sure if that's being rude.
I would point out. Yeah, I would point out, Gerald, that we've all done it. I must admit that when we at Motorsport News back in the day, when we ran an April Fool's story about Will Davison driving in the Indy 500, I was inspired to do that a little bit by Chris Landon's story in Auto Action back in the 80s, and Dick Johnson driving a third McLaren in the British Grand Prix. Imitation, Gerald, is the sincerest form of flattery, and God knows you don't get much flattery.
No, I mean that was actually a prerequisite of the Holden job originally when I went and worked for Plastic, and it was you don't get any accolades, mate. So no, you don't. No one's ever going to pat you on the back. So be prepared to cash those checks because that's all you're going to get. You'll get plenty of daggers. They're like the daggers. Yeah. Oh, look, I've buried the hatchet in their backs. But no. I mean, look, they're out there having a go, and that's all. That's all well and good. They are a good team. Just give us a call if you're going to.
They're a good team, and I can't fault their enthusiasm. And they did do something good on them.
Absolutely.
We love you, Betty.
Yeah, and no, it's terrific.
And Dan.
And who?
Daniel.
Daniel who?
That's a husband.
Oh, sorry.
Tom Worsley's just written in, if Australia's part of Eurovision, surely Phil's concept has legs. Yes, we're part of Eurovision.
Why?
Eurovision week's coming up, by the way. I've got the body glitter ready to go. Ready to go, baby.
Well, talk about...
Hey, stop showing me drinking wine. This is the finest wine that's ever come out of East Timor. It's fantastic.
It's the best box you've ever bought. Now let's go. A lot of V-Series going around the world.
Sure.
Probably too much. And look, Supercars actually, their show last week really dropped pretty bad in the ratings. But this week it picked it back up again because they went from having Verstappen. And then last week they had no one, and then this week they had Lando Norris,
no, they didn't have no one. They had Marcus Ambrose. Oops. You're breaking up.
Maybe that was a indication of what the Ford fans thought of after he returned from NASCAR. I don't know. He jumped out of there, but
Lando Norris really picked it up this week. So yeah, look, have we got any highlights to look at? We got any vision?
well, let's go and have a look at.
Right.
Let's go to Indianapolis.
And
Let's
Ferrucci,
take a virtual.
Ferrucci's got a shot at lead in the draft. Santino Ferrucci, can he get Oliver Askew to the yard of bricks? They crash across the line. Scott McLaughlin's going to win. McLaughlin wins. Win it. Scott McLaughlin survives the carnage and wins the First Responder 175 presented by GMR in spectacular fashion.
Spectacular fashion. He did a Bradbury, Philip.
He did. He didn't actually do a Bradbury. I don't think he was planning that. It's just that the two pairs of goofballs in front of him tripped over each other.
And there was a bit of controversy before that as well, because was it Norris? Norris taking part with, was it Simon Pagenaud?
It was. And look, people have pointed this out, including some prominent commentators and journalists on social media, one in particular saying it's like watching somebody drink alcohol-free beer. And yeah, look, it's a video game. It's a video game. No one's been hurt. No prize money's been squandered. And this is not a big deal, except for the people who buy into it. And you can say those same things about motor racing. Hey, motor racing isn't that big a deal, except for the people who buy into it. So this is what IndyCar is offering its fans. The IndyCar E-Series has, warning, wanker word ahead, the imprimatur of IndyCar, which is owned by Roger Penske, and Simon Pagenaud, the current Indy 500 champion, and the man who drives for Roger Penske, took out a, let's be kind, middle of the grid, second year Formula One driver in his first IndyCar race. Not a good look. Not a good look.
No, the track owner didn't do anything about it, but the track owner certainly went to the trophy presentation. We've got the question,
did he?
Did the winner speed in pit lane? Did he use the limiter in pit lane or not? But let's have a look at the trophy presentation. And let's go to the next image. There it is. And, of course, Roger Penske on the left and the Ron Penske. Who is Ron Penske? Ron Penske on the right.
Who is Ron Penske?
Ron Penske.
Really?
Named in James Phelps's article prior to his brother Ron buying the team. And that was Ron Penske. So he has been seen for the first ever time.
Yeah. Oh, good. Good to see him. There he is.
And he said, stay classy, Indianapolis.
He did. And look, while we're handing out some brickbats for people who didn't go so well, McLaughlin is clearly very, very, very good at e-racing, at sim racing, and to be in contention of two separate series on two completely different types of cars on two completely different kinds of tracks at the same time shows that A, he's good at this, and B, he's putting in a fair bit of work. So, well done. Credit where credit's due.
Or he's got a lot of time on his hands and spends it sitting on a simulator all day. But he has been running for a long time. Let's go to the...
Good luck to him. Good luck to him.
Let's leave Indianapolis and get on board our virtual private jet, our Gulfstream, Philip. And
where to?
Let's go to Spa-Francorchamps.
Oh. You know what? I love Spa.
And look at this. What a great finish. Here we go. There's... advertising for bras up there. And the French Tanda, Santander. No, that's the Spanish Tanda, isn't it?
Santander.
Santander.
Cousin.
Yes. And there we go. And look at Mustang coming in third there. We've got Shane van Gisbergen crossing the line, the winner, Philip. But controversially,
yes.
And the headline screamed 2 days later, Van Gisbergen stripped of his E-Series win. Stripped.
Okay, well, first off, nobody wants to see Shane stripped.
Stripped.
No, don't want to do it. But how predictable is it? You know, when he goes to Silverstone and Barcelona, he has to fight off Max Verstappen, and then when we go to Spa, we've got the same three drivers up the front in every race. We've got Van Gisbergen, we've got McLaughlin, and we've got Feeney. Like, it's just so predictable. Oh, yeah, Feeney.
Yeah, Feeney. Oh, Brock Feeney.
Did fantastic. 17 years old. I got shoes that are 17 years old.
Have you?
Yeah. I'm wearing them.
He's a super talent, young Brock Feeney, and
and clearly pretty good at sim racing. Would he win a race in a real supercar? Probably not. Not at that level. But good luck to him. He won, and he did. And as I pointed out on Twitter, did a good job in the post race interview.
Did he win the Kumo Series last year?
I'm sure Paul Feeney's going to let us know in a minute, but yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah, he did. Okay. And Crayley, did he or didn't he? I can't remember.
And of course, Paul, former motorcycle rider.
Yeah, he was a superbike racer and runs a very successful distribution business. So look, good luck to him. It's a little bit like Jack Doohan, who also raced on the weekend, son of a two-wheeled legend, and turning his attention to four-wheeled racing. And look, maybe hasn't got the experience that maybe got him up there at the shiny end so far as sim racing is concerned. But it's good to see Red Bull backing Jack Doohan and making an appearance as a wildcard. Have we got a wildcard in the next Supercars race?
Lando Norris.
The next one.
The Spanish, Garth Santander.
Garth Santander?
Garth Santander. He's very good on the guitar.
Whereabouts is the race? Whereabouts is the race, Gerald?
Oh, I don't know. Where is it? Oh, Texas. Is it in Austin?
Is it in Texas?
What car's he driving?
Is it in Austin? Is it in Austin?
Yeah, Austin. I've been to Austin.
Oh,
good.
Did you
go to Austin?
Garth racing at Austin. He's going to give that series some punch, isn't he?
Probably. What car is he driving?
I think he's driving the number 98 Blind Pig Red Bull Commodore, isn't he? Is he?
I've been to the Blind Pig. Aptly named for some others. It was aptly named. And it wasn't me. I got the receipts of how much I drank that night. Oh, Jesus. Now.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus. I think it's pronounced Jesus in that part of the world, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Officer Beat Hard.
Good luck to Garth. Any other wildcards this weekend? I'd like to see a few more out there.
Well, I'm trying to get young Oscar Piastri in there, but apparently it's all a bit of a drama. There's so many wildcards there, but it'd be nice. We're talking with Nathan and trying to get Oscar Piastri in there because through the Renault link with BP Castrol, it'd be great to have a BP Castrol wildcard in there.
Sure.
Young Oscar went in and won the TCR E-Series race 2 weeks ago.
Did he? Fantastic.
Wild card, popped in there, won that.
Good.
And wants to go back to Europe and start racing the real cars. But, yep, he did that. Now, we mentioned earlier about the Motorsport show taking part in the E-Series. Let's have a look at that. Come on, Will. Roll that videotape. And here we go. They're coming down one part of they've just gone off the start. Courtney out a bit wide in the boost mobile car. Gets turned around and backs it into the wall. That was the highlight of the Motorsport show, Veracity Media, Boost Mobile, Opal. That was it.
Right.
So James is up at home having a few drinks tonight. Clearly, it's aggravated his e-back problem.
Yep.
Now, the best e-racing comes from Tom Aaron.
Tom Aaron. Yeah, go on.
The best series. And if you don't follow this
absolutely fantastic.
If you don't follow this bloke on Twitter, there's something wrong. And let's roll this. It's 40 seconds. Let's go to Lasarth. Phil?
Yeah.
And Limon.
Yeah. Limon. Yeah.
With the mowers. Down Mulside straight. Cutting laps around Lasarth.
That's it. Are they on the grass?
No. No, but here we go. There's the Honda. That's dead set. Got to be Matt Neal, I would have thought, on the Honda.
It's not the wall at Oran Park, so yeah, maybe it's going okay.
I haven't seen a former Red Bull Honda racing team, the Triple Eight commercial manager, PJ, who now is Cox Right on Mowers Australia. He should have been taking part in that. So
Is he with Right on Mowers now?
yeah, Cox.
Oh, good on him.
Cox
Hey,
Mowers.
PJ.
So
Right.
he does that, and Greenfell as well. Yeah,
It's fantastic. If you're not watching Nat do recipes or Tom Aaron do those races, you're missing out. So fantastic performance by the lawnmower racing fraternity there at Le Mans. But unfortunately, where was Craig Lawns? Wasn't there. There's no Frank Gardner. Lucas de Grassi was absent.
yeah.
It's very disappointing. Very disappointing.
Tom Worsley said Feeney was a Star series winner in 2018, 2019. Probably the one to watch in the Star series. That comes from the Bridgestone PR bloke. Steve Grennan. I heard it was a rather arresting night in Texas. No,
it was not.
Not for me. Not at all. And if anyone, I never got arrested, nor should I have. And as Officer Beathard did say to me, since you were assaulted, if you had a gun, you could have shot him. But I didn't have one.
Dave Harding. DeGrassi was already cutting the grass. And then previously watched Twitter. Dave Harding, get some Twitter. Come on.
Get some Twitter.
Get the typewriter out.
Dave Harding, good bloke on the environment, making paper straws. No, not paper straws, rice paper straws. Up in Thailand, is that right, Dave? I think, I'm pretty sure. So good idea, because those plastic straws are absolute bullshit. Stop.
Hey, what happens in Thailand stays in Thailand.
Well, Philip.
What else is going on?
Kevin Simons.
Kev.
Big Kev. Hello, mate. Kota, he says. That's where we're going. Lowndes in next week too. Oh.
Is he?
Apparently.
Fantastic.
Who says that? Thomas Jarrett.
Terrific.
Wow.
He's Texan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Palm leaf.
Plenty.
Palm leaf plates. And rice straws.
Fantastic. Righto, where are we going next?
Who does your shocking typing? Alan Bloomfield says that's on the. It's coming up with the captions, Phil. Can you? No, pipe. I've been to Thailand. That's right. Alan, I've never seen this shit before. I don't know who the fuck's doing that. It's someone in the machine. So
the captions.
Hey?
The caps are coming up on the Facebook feed, which is now on cover, by the way, and available on computer. But
why?
It's been quite unusual. Tom Aaron came up as Tom Asia. Don't know how that works.
Well,
and let's not read what they wrote about the blind pig. Anyway, what's next?
Good bar though, the blind pig.
Really?
Oh yeah. It was a good bar. Yeah.
I hear the carpet is drink resistant as well.
Aptly known.
Is anything going on? Speaking of Brazil. Yeah.
Or get a let's go Brazilian.
Yeah.
And if we can, please, Michelle and William, let's put up the next one. Have a look at that.
From lawnmowers to Brazilian.
For the horniest looking race car I reckon I have ever seen in my life.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Is it a sports car? Is it an open wheeler? It's a bit of both.
And that's leave it up. Put it back up, guys, if you can, please. Tarso Mark's concept prototype. Have a look at it. It's just stunning, isn't it?
Yep. Horn. That is horn. That is fantastic. Somebody needs to get behind this series and give Taco Marquez some money. And let's have some of those racing in Europe, and let's see them on television when we actually get racing.
Take it down now. I think I'm going to have to sit down. It was excited me that much.
Really? Have you gone the full Brazilian, Gerald?
I think the table's lifting up. Anyway, righto. Drag racing, Philip. There's no E-Series.
Sorry, Gerald?
There's no E-Series for drag racing. It's a sport.
Really?
It's a sport which has found it very lacking at the moment. for coverage in the isolation, where supercars have done an exceptional job with their E-Series, and it really is the best in the world. But NASCAR,
clearly,
World of Outlaws have done it. Formula One, IndyCar, Formula E are about to start, so they had to wait.
Yeah, the W Series is about to start as well. So all the fans of the W Series, tune in to see your favourite racing driver compete in the W E Series.
Well, the WE Series and the Formula EE Series.
EIEIO Series.
EIEIO.
Bye, Val. Yeah.
We're going back to the blind pig here, aren't we?
Anyway, what's happening in drag racing, Gerald?
Let's go. So Tucson Raceway in Tucson, that'd be Arizona, I'd suggest.
That would be Arizona, yeah.
And Alan Reinhart, the announcer for the NHRA, at-track announcer, have come up with, in conjunction with Hot Wheels and a new drag racing set. Let's have a look at the video of this.
This week at Scaled Down Tucson Dragway, it is a funny car match race for the ages. We've got 8 of the best from back in time, including Wild Willie Borsch, who's going to be leading the field here this weekend. Also, the staging lanes are full of funny cars here at Scaled Down Tucson Dragway as we get set to go with round number 1. First pair already burned out, and they're ready to go. That's the famed Blue Max in from Texas and driver Raymond Beadle, and he's going to be taking on Don Schumacher. When we match race funny cars here at Tucson Dragway, we only bring the big names. Well, unfortunately, we're going to start with a solo here. The Blue Max with an oil leak on the burnout. He was shut off and pushed off the starting line, and the Wonder Wagon will take a solo. Solid run for Don Schumacher as he's racing for lane choice and makes his way into round 2. We'll have a little cleanup on the racetrack, and then we'll be back.
They even got the oil downs and the cleanup. Like, it was so well done. It was about a 5-minute video. They've done some pro stocks as well. But Phil, they've used the Hot Wheels set and just done a terrific job. The classic names: Wild Willie Borsch, Don the Shoe Schumacher, Ed the Ace McCullough, the Blue Max. All of the great cars from years gone by, the funny cars. Surprisingly, I don't think they had the Snake and the Mongoose.
It's probably licensing.
Hot Wheels, of course, became famous in the late 60s, early 70s with the Snake and the Mongoose. That's where it really hit its straps, and terrific stuff. But even the oil down with the track preparation at the end there was fantastic. Kingsley Edgar, please, Gerald, please keep up your fluids. The wine looks to be going down a treat with Phil. I think he's having a dip at you there, Philip.
No, I think he's my wingman. Hey, there's that drag racing Hot Wheels set. You know what the only thing that would make that better?
What?
There would be 2 additions on I would make, Gerald, and that would be on one side the flag of the United States, on the other side the flag of Australia. It's a battle of the countries.
In the funny cars. Let's watch. Kenny Bernstein's team's find time to find the American flag. It's a battle of the country in the funny cars. Let's watch.
That's right.
Winter Nationals 1987, and King Kenny Bernstein went out.
Who was that? Not Dave Despain. What was his name?
Paul Page.
Paul Page. And I introduced you to him at the Gold Coast, and you wouldn't speak to him. You were too shy.
But then I rolled it out though.
What a girl's blouse you are!
I did roll out the line, the full line.
That's right. And then you ended up having a drink at the Blind Pig.
It's the America's Cup of Funny Cars. Let's watch.
Wonderful bloke, Paul Page. Wonderful.
Oh yeah, and terrific commentator as well.
Absolutely. What's next?
Hey. Now,
what's next?
Let's go back to the funny cars. Let's go to Tucson, because there was drama. And don't worry about all that bullshit E-Series drama. This was real. This was 3-dimensional. Let's roll the next one.
The Farconis Coil and Minnick team over on the left side of the racetrack, and Don Schumacher's Wonder Wagon on the right side. I can't begin to imagine how many times these two have faced off against each other. Oh, it's problems for the Wonder Wagon, but no trouble whatsoever for Pat Minnick. The Farconis Coil and Minnick car is going to the final, while Rescue rolls to check on Don Schumacher. Don Schumacher able to climb out of the Wonder Wagon and walk away. Unfortunately, the car a little bit worse for wear.
What a classic. Absolute classic. Don Schumacher had a crash, was able to walk away, the car worse for wear.
Where's the medical centre? Do they have the medical centre?
Oh, I think it would have been in the tower.
Carl Lee. Carl, are you watching?
Yeah.
Get down there.
How good was that, though? That was terrific stuff. And
No, that's great. And look, it's frustrating because we're not actually getting to see cars and motorcycles. Motorcycles got MotoGP. Wouldn't I like to see some of that at the moment going around? But what people are coming up with, the creative content, has mostly been very entertaining.
Or copies. Or copies, Philip. Someone's copied someone.
Cool poppies. You're breaking up.
No, copies. 2 of.
Coffee forward.
Yes. That's really about it, Phil. We're a couple of minutes away from an hour. We said an hour show. We've had a pretty good roll up most of the night.
We have.
So yeah, Roland said we were talking a lot of shit though. He did text me.
Roland.
Yeah.
Roland's one of those guys who'd be getting cranky about not having any motor racing. I'm trying to think of a more competitive person I've ever met.
He did ring me earlier today and said, "What time are you on?" I said, "Well, 8:30, same as every other time." He said, "No, COVID-19, that's past everyone's bedtime."
Past your bedtime.
I normally go to bed at 9 every night, so don't worry about that. Now, at the start of the show, we had the Irish people.
Yeah.
And they're talking about the Motorsport show. So we're not allowed to use our mate with the car sales, Rudy, anymore. We got pinged.
Oh, okay.
We got pinged on that.
Did we?
Yeah, I think the last show of last year we got pinged on that
on
Facebook.
Dear. Okay.
They didn't find it amusing that we'd ran it. Fucking for a laugh.
Oh well.
So
we're doing our best.
Let's find out about the Motorsport show.
The Motorsport Show, a must-attend event for all motorsport fans. RDS Simmons Court, Dublin, Saturday 23rd and Sunday 24th November. Tickets on sale now.
So there's it's the 23rd of November, Philip.
It's the 23rd of November, Gerald.
The 23rd.
Oh.
The 23rd.
You're going to bear in mind, I can't hear the audio in those clips.
No, but I'm telling you, it's the 23rd of November.
Right. Good.
Right. Last year. So don't go.
I won't go. I'll stay at home by myself. Bad hair.
Dave Harding's asked about the funny car clip. Fuck own us. No. Farconis, Minnick and Coyle. So that's who it was. Pat Minnick drove the car. Austin Coyle went on to become, this is a Chi-Town hustler, went on to become the crew chief for John Force and won so many championships and national events. And I was very lucky to be at the NHRA awards banquet at the end of last year with my good mate Richie Crampton and what's his name? Austin Coyle was made a legend of the sport. He was given a Lifetime Achievement Award, and so be it. Dave Harding, let's finish with some gossip. Okay. What sort of gossip would you like, Philip?
What do you have?
Well, I can't say anything.
Oh, okay. Maybe you're privy to a bit more gossip than I am. Not really gossip because it's been widely reported, but there's going to be a lot of activity in the next little while, and there's going to be a bunch of rumours about the TV deal for Supercars for next year. And clearly, look, News Limited having dropped $1 billion loss is not great news because that affects Foxtel. But then again, Foxtel's just signed a new content deal with HBO. So they're obviously looking on continuing broadcasting in Australia. What part will sport play in that? We don't know. Suggestions and reports during the week in the Australian Financial Review that Channel 10 won't be bidding for the Supercars TV rights. I don't know whether that's accurate or not, but these are, look, we will come out of this, and it's going to be difficult times for sports, and there are going to be challenges for people in Supercars to put together a new TV deal. So what form that TV deal will take, we don't know. No one's saying anything. And
well, the big thing with sports, they're saying that the networks are now saying where they've paid over the odds for particular sports and are using them as a loss leader to get advertising to prop up the other programs and their advertising revenue. They're not going to run them as a loss leader anymore. So that will be interesting. But at the same time, they still need content to stay relevant. They're all started their own streaming services, so they have to fill those up. And how they do that, the people that get on top of that are going to be the ones that come out in front. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that really is. But look, things like, and this was suggested to me by someone who knows a lot more about electronic media than I do when I was speaking to him about 2 weeks ago. How many people out there are aware that 10 has a pay-for-use content stream? And I watch catch up on all the networks, and hardly anyone subscribes to it. If 10 was to sign up a whole bunch of sport and put that sport on their content stream, would you pay $10, $12, $14 a month to watch sports on 10? And ordinarily, you'd say, yeah, sure. But is 10 going to do that? What, 10, the people who put 1HD on the air as a 24-hour-a-day sports channel, would they do something like that? Maybe the mentality at 10 is still there to do something like that. And would Supercars be a good fit? I don't know. Matty White's the head of sport at Channel 10. Whether it's being talked about by him and CBS, I don't know. But if you were to put CBS's sports content and a whole bunch of Australian stuff and around an international sport on a streaming service that you would pay a moderate fee for, would you do it to watch Supercars? I would.
Well, it's the big question. KO have copped a huge whack in the COVID era. Gemba actually predicted they'd lose about 41% of their subscribers, and apparently they have. I subscribe to KO, not to Foxtel, and I did that for Supercars, and I got a deal with the access to News Limited online, so the papers and everything online. I haven't cancelled because it's in a 12-month deal, and it's $25 or whatever. It's pretty damn good. So I'm not going to do that. If 10 want to do it, what they have to do is do their programming. They've done MasterChef pretty good, even with the change of people. But programs in regards to automotive or sport, they've got to do it better than what they're doing RPM, because that happens to be the shittest show I reckon ever been put on telly. Go back to the original format of Stories and Motorsport where it was really successful. It cost a lot more to do, but sometimes you've got to spend that money to make the money. And last year they had Garth Santander and Michael Robbo Caruso on the show. They got rid of that. They got Kate Peck on there and some other guy. It's just a nothing show. Nothing shows. And sorry, guys, for who are looking at it. And they'll go, Jesus, have a look at your show. You're thinking, well, shit. But, it's a shadow of its old self, I think, isn't it, Philip? It hasn't advanced. It's just a nothing show.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I don't watch it. I think you've got other bits and pieces going on, but some comments online. Tom Worsley, not to mention all sponsorships, probably taking a haircut in corporate budgets in the future. Tom Worsley's been around motor racing for a long time. You and I both know him. Of course, he's now communications manager for Bridgestone Australia. He's speaking on behalf of himself, not them, obviously. Dave Harding, if all supercar races are not available on free-to-air, it's done and dusted.
Yeah,
Dave, I take your point, but people have been saying that for the last 5 years.
No,
will there be a $40 million a year deal for supercars going forward, a broadcast deal? Hard to say. But
it does need to go free-to-air, though. It does need to go free-to-air.
Yeah, but I also think that somewhere someone is going to break out of this. The post-COVID-19 world is going to look a lot different, especially with sports broadcasting. And a streaming service, whether it's Netflix, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Stan, I've got all three of those at home, whether it's one of the other ones, if one of those picks up a major sport and then maybe you pay a premium to get sport through those streaming channels. Whether it's AFL, NRL, whether it's rugby union, who knows what it's going to be? It might be a motor racing property as well. The sporting landscape is changing faster than people can imagine, and it's being accelerated now by what we're seeing around the world. So who would ever have thought that Korean soccer would be shown live in Australia? But last night, it was. I bet Lynchy watched.
Don't tell me it was a thrilling 0-0 draw.
No, it was
the world's shittest game. Seriously.
No, I'm not a soccer fan. I don't watch soccer.
No one will pay for the series, says Dave. I don't know. Like I will say that, and Dave Harding's had his long time in media and knows what knows his stuff and very good at media. And
yes, he is.
And straws. But no, for those fans that hooked on to Foxtel early and could watch 3 days of action from every event, or 4 days or 5 days, depending on the event timing, it was terrific. The events as well. Now, that's another issue in itself, because you're talking about the cost reductions and new generations of race cars. That's got to be something in itself. You know,
yep.
Does the series need to move to summer? Does it need to move to more night races around the country? Does it need to, only have a couple of special events that are 3 or 4 days in length, not half the series? You've got to cut the cost of the cars from $600,000 to $300,000. What's it do to the engineers that you've got working for you? It means, you've got to put a lot of these people off. Well, you don't want to do that. What's it do for the engine departments? You've got to put people off. It's not really what people want to do. So there's all of these things that roll into it. And bear in mind, we're talking to someone the other day. Someone was asking me about supercars, and it was Lachlan actually when we were doing the podcast, and we're talking about Tony Cochrane and what he had done for the sport. And there was a bloke who knew nothing about racing, was brought into the sport by Scafie and Neil Crompton. They introduced him, got him on board, and, he ran with it. And we're talking about, there was a touring car round, ATCC round, where there was, 11 cars turned up. I think it was Tasmania. And there used to be, 30 or 40 people had jobs working for race teams in the past. And whereas now there's, over 1,000 people around the place, and not only in supercars, but also, with Dunlop Series cars and Kumho Series cars and GT cars and Porsches, and the industry expanded. And but
hang on,
a lot of opportunities became available, Phil.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid, because the last race before V8 supercars got involved had 27 cars on the grid, not 11. There was 11 down at Simmons Plains, and that happened once. And 40 people worked for Fred Gibson.
Hang on,
not the whole grid.
But that's not the Kool-Aid. But as general, there was 2 or 3 teams that were professional. That was it. And Fred Gibson had Nissan and Winfield money.
Yep, agreed.
Right, and Winfield had to go, right. But there's so many professional teams now. So I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, but the opportunities for motorsport as a whole grew rapidly, with events,
absolutely.
Hospitality.
The industry has grown,
and I'm not saying
massively.
He did everything. He didn't do everything right, and there's not things that you can always agree on that he did. But geez,
we're
the
talking about Cochrane,
and where the industry went,
he and I butted heads 100 times. And I got nothing but respect for the guy. He did a fantastic job.
Unbelievable job. But that's about it. And so when you start talking cost cutting and what are we going to do, and with the is there going to be enough income from media and all of that sort of stuff, there's so many fascist levels involved in the sport that are going to be affected by what goes on. It's quite incredible. Yeah,
absolutely true. Absolutely true. Look, we're going to come out of this in a slightly different world. And motor racing, Formula One, talking about a cost cap. MotoGP have already announced that they're going to hold this year's bikes over for next year. It's going to be completely different. And what's going to happen when somebody says, hang on a second, I contracted my driver for 2020 and I didn't get 20 races out of him, or 15 races, and I want him back in 21. There's going to be a whole bunch of variables going on in motor racing. And you know what we should do, Gerald? Let's come back and talk about them in a couple of weeks. What do you reckon?
Yeah, sounds like a good idea, Philip.
We'll have an argument. No, we won't.
No,
yes,
no.
we will.
You got any wine left? You got any of that cheap shit you've been drinking?
Have I got any wine left? 13 companies have delivered wine to my house in the last month, including Qantas.
Oh, you're sick of getting those fucking emails. Jesus, Qantas, for Christ's sake.
Well, they're not using the bottles on planes.
Alan Joyce, fuck. Stop sending me those emails.
Stop sending in those emails. Thanks, everybody, for watching tonight, and thanks for all your comments. And thanks, Gerald, and the geniuses behind the scenes. We know who the brains of the outfit is, and it really is your wife and your son. Well done.
Thanks, Phil. Happy birthday, Motorsport News. But thank you, everyone, for 12 months. This is episode number 20 as well in the 12 months.
Motorsport News? Hang on.
Did I say Motorsport News? The Motorsport Show.
You sure did.
The Motorsport Show. Episode 20 of the Motorsport Show. We have had our first birthday, but thank you, everyone, for watching. And David Reynolds has just gone. Dave, don't go skip back because your team cop's whack. See you in a couple of weeks, everyone.
And be nice to your mums. Bye.
Happy Mother's Day, Rosalie.
The Motorsport Show is the best